Welcome to the UNA Baseball Review. Here are your hosts, Coach Mike Keene and Jeff Hodges.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the UNA Baseball Review. I'm Jeff Hodges alongside UNA head baseball coach Mike Keene. Coach Keene, the UNA Lions 13-11 and coming off a series win over Alabama Huntsville. I know things aren't going quite the way you would hope right now, but the big news from that series is you got a series win, and that's always important in the GSC. Yeah,
and I think it was one of those, obviously, we knew UH going into it was going to have an extremely powerful offensive team. It was one of those games where, we keep looking for something that will propel us into the season and get some consistency. And that was a game where we had a lot of emotions, had some up and downs as far as getting back in the game. We're taking the lead, had pitchers that really competed, like Chad Bonner in the first game after getting behind, competed. And then obviously the second game was, just a great pitching game, great baseball game, and 1-0 game. But yeah, it was a good to get a couple wins, and especially when they were, I think, number 9 into the country at that time.
One of the top hitting teams, as you mentioned. Chad Bonner with a great pitching performance in the Saturday win. The first game, we're going to see highlights of that later, but UNA won that one 8-6. Michael Watkins, a 7-hitter shutout, 1-0 in Game 2. And I had mentioned to you before Game 3, there's been very few sweeps in our series with UAH, but UNA's won every home series since '04, but it never won a series 3-0. And we had that opportunity. You got out to an 8-1 lead in the final game and just weren't able to hold it.
Yeah, and we talked about that. We knew they were going to. If you look at what UH has done over the season, they're a team that continues to score. They're averaging 10 runs a game. So even if it was 8-1, we knew they were going to make a run. And for us, we couldn't expand to get more runs after we got the big lead, and they kept coming back. And it was one of those games where you felt that you had some good pitches and felt we had some strikeouts, and we couldn't get the call, which allowed them another opportunity. And they're just too talented to give them another opportunity to swing the bat. And this time they were hitting the balls instead of at us. They were finding every gap and every hole, and it just ended up being obviously a very emotional weekend, a very emotional game, and a very disappointing loss on Sunday.
And you didn't have any games scheduled in the middle of the week, but you were able to pick up a game against Montevallo. They had some rainouts, and again, a situation where it looked like we were going to lose the ball game. We were able to come back and tie it up in the late innings, but again, gave up a run, lost that one 7-6.
Right, and we know Montevallo's a good ball club. Former Eric Moss, who coached at UNA, and we know their staff well. And it was one of those days where you get an opportunity to play. Get the game in, and again, I was really disappointed in our lack of emotions during the game. And both teams were. It was really kind of a dead game, and it looked like it was going to be a tight game, low-scoring game. Then it turned into us again giving up, getting down 6-1. And then we battled back into it, and they gave us some breaks to tie it. And it was one of those games where when they tie it, we should have been able to turn around and get that last bat and win the game. And then we make a mistake to allow them to go ahead, and then couldn't get after getting lead guy, we couldn't get him in.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll have highlights from the UAH series when we come back.
TVA Credit Union was established by the Farm Credit Administration on June 24, 1936, with 7 branches full of financial experts offering personal advice. TVA Credit Union offers low rates for mortgages, auto and personal loans, as well as higher rates on savings and CDs. TVA Credit Union is member-owned and operated, and now open to the community. TVA Credit Union is everybody's credit union. Give TVA Credit Union a call today, 256-386-3000, or stop by any branch.
Daddy, can I get a puppy, please?
Okay, Sammy. It's bedtime.
Oh, 10 more minutes, please.
10 more.
Yes. Please. Hey, Daddy. Will you buy some alcohol for my party tonight? We'll be right here at the house. You can even take the keys. Please?
Absolutely not.
Each time I turn around.
Never let me have anything.
Don't be a pushover.
I hate you.
Be a parent. Prevent. Don't provide alcohol to minors.
Welcome back to the UNA Baseball Review. Coach Keene, our highlight segment today is Game 1 of the 3-game series against Alabama Huntsville, and the Lions going to pull this one out 8-6. You were facing the number 9 team in the nation. UH came in here 19-4, undefeated in conference play, so this was a huge win to get to start the weekend off.
Yeah, and one other thing, we had here you can see we had a neat event with the Stevenson family dedication for the press box, and then it was Military Appreciation Day, so there was a lot of stuff going on. Great crowd, great weather. All the coaches are talking about we're tired of playing in 40-degree weather. Well, we had 70-degree weather. So it was a situation where we knew we had a big crowd. and hoping we'd come out and do well. And then unfortunately for us, it didn't start off so good. They come out again, and which again we knew they were going to be a very good offensive team. Well, they jump out on us and go up 3-0. You can see them taking a ball, driving it the other way. I think they have Evan Bush, who's I think he works with their hitters. They just do such a good job of keeping the ball through the middle, and they're not trying to pull the ball here. They're going with another breaking ball, driving it into the gap, and that was one thing we didn't want to get behind with them because we know they can continue to go. And I think that's a credit to having Chad, the experience that he had, because we didn't panic. We kept figuring out we got to score, and we knew it. So I was glad to see us come back out and then put some runs on the board here. Again, we do a good job of taking a breaking ball, staying through the middle. And you can see a lot of these hits. If you try to get out front and roll over that, it'll be the same. But we had to get something going, and it was nice to see us get some things happening.
I was gonna say that's what you got to do. I mean, you got to get base runners before you can get runs, and just gonna kind of chip away at them here in the bottom of the second inning.
And there's a good job being aggressive. That we from a little bit of the scouting report, we talked about being aggressive on any balls in the dirt. Andrew was, and then we were able to get him. And then and this is something about Bradley Nolan. He's got some deceptive opposite field pop, and here he gets a ball that's out over the plate, and the wind was blowing to right field, and obviously our right field sun is tough, and the guy kind of. He got back on it, really couldn't see it, and then you see it hit right in front of the warning track, so almost had a home run. But the important thing was we were able to get on the board and then take that lead from being 3-0 to kind of put us back within 2.
And Nolan really had a great week for you, and all weekend long drove in a lot of runs.
Right, and Bradley, I think that's one of the things about having where he's hitting in our lineup. You got some good depth down the line, and he brings that ability to hit. He brings a run. He's got a lot of speed, and ends up having a crucial play right here, as you saw that Bradley threw that guy to third. And that's the thing, he's again, kind of like years ago we had Blake Stroth, who was actually a second base, moved him to left field, and Blake had a lot of assists. But you see Bradley, just a nice throw right on the money, good tag, and, got the call. And again, this huge play because it stopped them from, and we needed that play. And that was one to keep the game as is at 3-1. And then we're able to get in her pitch and then get out of the inning. And, again, using our speed, getting down there, Josh Doyle back in the lineup, make a play. And exactly what we needed. We needed to start controlling the game.
We need to get him a better fitting hat every time he goes to make a defensive play. The hat comes off.
Yeah, that might be.
Like you said, just tremendous defense, particularly in this game. But all day Saturday, just made the plays one after another.
And that's the thing about this team. We're capable of doing that. We've been a pretty solid defensive team all year long. I guess that was kind of the Montevallo game was disappointing because that's one of our strengths is our defense, and we allowed our defense to kind of collapse a little bit. And we're just being in a position when we do that. It leads the other teams to a lot of runs. Here's Josh just chopping the ball, putting it in play, chops it over because they're obviously got to be worried about his bunt. He's able to get on base. And thinking about Josh that we got back in the lineup now that we're going to be able to steal base. Now they're playing off the base here, and Dylan gets a ball that he hits down the line, and it kind of trickles around there quite a ways, and then he runs well enough and we're able to score. It's not usually a ball you're not going to score on, but it kind of kicked off our wall a little bit, and he took a while to pick it up, so we're able to get scoring. And now we're right back into it. 3-2 ball game, and then Chad just keeps battling and trying to change it. That's what we have to do.
That's one thing. The fans may panic when you see Chad getting roughed up a little bit because you're not used to seeing that. But he came right back and shut them down for the next 4 innings and really stayed in the game and battled.
Right, and I think that was what Chad. I was really just real pleased with the way he kept going. And Chad usually does. Once he gets his stuff, he gets out of the first inning, he starts locating, starts understanding what he does, gets his stuff a little more depth, and he starts hitting more, getting them all the end of the bat. And you see there his breaking ball starting to have a lot more bite on it. And again, there's Andrew making a nice play on the turn. And again, we talked about Josh Sear, his put-out record that he had, but there was a great example coming off the base and just being able to move his athleticism around the bag is so important.
And a huge inning coming up here for the Lions in the bottom of the 4th inning. You're going to get 4 runs and take the lead for the first time.
Right, and here's a ball that just a good, we don't hit it overly hard, but it finds a spot in a perfect location. They're unable to get to it, getting base runners on, and we're going to try to make some things happen in here. We put on there a delay steal. We're able to get the guy in scoring position. That's something that we really have not been able to do a lot of as far as getting the scoring, just because the way the games have been going. So now we've got a runner in scoring position. And then this is a good, Jake a lot of times doesn't pull a lot of balls. He can. A lot of times they pitch him away. He gets a pitch, it hits just to get a nice ball right down the line, and it just barely stays fair. So when they were playing him opposite field, so that's why he was able to get the triple. But it was really nice to get over there, and then that was able to tie it up, and now we got some real momentum on our side.
And the offense just really coming on strong here in the 4th inning, just one after another.
And there's, again, a really good job of staying on the ball. And that was a good pitch by Josh. It's out over the middle plate. Really stays through it, didn't pull off, and just drove that ball hard, knocks in another run, and we're able to take the lead and can hopefully continue to do some things. And he's actually running on the play and then stealing it and gets by the catcher, trying to come up out of and throw it before. So again, we're back in scoring position. We got to get, Josh is up there getting play. We're able to steal third, and that's what Josh brings to our offense that we didn't have. I mean, he's looking to steal. If he's got to jump, he's going to be able to go for it. Obviously, it was a very good base steal last year, and then he gets a pitch right here that kind of gets floats, gets down, and knock it in, and then we'll be able to expand. Which we knew, this every run we're going to need because we knew that UH will not go quietly. They're going to keep coming back because they've been doing it all year long.
And the stolen bases were important in this game. You had 5-3, I think, were delayed steals, but they moved your guys up into scoring position, and then on plays like that, you're able to score.
Right, and then here we get a hit, and then their shortstop makes a nice backhand play. We're able to get through and beat it out. I believe we beat it out. It's a nice play, hustling down the line, and Andrews, that's one of the things he's just getting out of the box and getting down and keep the inning going. And again, you see Chad continue to throw, and you can see the depth there. And here's what we needed. Again, we had so many defensive plays. There's another one we thought, Jake comes in, keeps going because it's easy to let that ball drop. And again, when you're playing a team like UH, you've got to get the outs when you get the outs. You don't want to let that ball drop and then give another opportunity with a guy in scoring position because they are so productive. They are so talented offensively. So what you have to do is make those plays when you can, and then we were able to do that. And then you can see Chad's movement. He's starting to get them where they're missing. There's another great play right here. And again, that's just going into the dugout. That's tough going into the opponent's dugout. You're not going to get a lot of help and able to have a great sense of awareness where he is, and again, make the play. And there's a ball hit off the end of the bat, get there covering first base like he's supposed to, and get us out of the inning and keep that lead 6-3.
And for the fans who were at this, this was just a great college baseball team, two very good teams, just really competing against each other. And like I said, the momentum, I guess, kind of built as the game went on with each defensive play and each run scored.
Right, and I think the thing about both our programs, obviously being, close by, but there's a lot of Alabama kids on both teams, so they know each other. And here's where Josh, we've got to get him back to doing that. He's been so much better driving the ball the other way. There he gets a pitch and he drives opposite field. We continue to keep the pressure on him, and when Josh stays like that, he's just a really good hitter. And again, we get back to back. Dylan, Boston, again, he's the same way. He's so strong when he just hits the ball where it's pitched. And again, we need this run to get our guys in, and it's going up 7-3. Where we are at this point in the inning, I felt was huge, and we just never quit and kept plugging away.
Boston was 4 for 5 in the game with 3 runs batted in.
And just like I said here, they were trying to make. And this was like right here, this game. When they're trying to move runners over again, making the plays, getting outs. They're trying to get back, and obviously you see what happened here. That the game, they're right back into it. So, we talked about they're not going to quit. So all of a sudden you go from up by 3, next thing you know, and here again, get some communication. That's that play that's in a tough area. It's one of those, everybody coming in, and Andrew comes all the way in and makes a play. And here's another one. The ball hits hard, boom, get out of the inning, and keep it up 7-6. And what we got to do now, we know we got to get back out and score some more runs.
And never enough runs in a college baseball game.
No, not. Hopefully it is, but we know from past we got to be able to keep plugging away. And then here's Dylan. And able to find a hole, getting again, got a fastball, and got it by the third baseman. And again, we get a guy on base, get some things happen. And so we get, one of those things that we got to be able to do. And here we had, for defensive reason, Taylor was in, Bonifacio hits the ball, runs well. Their third baseman mishandles it, and we're able to move up and being aggressive, we're able to get a run in by the first mistake. And then able to move up and get us again. That was a huge run at the time, and instead of striking out, he moved the baseball. And that's Taylor, when he comes in the game, we put him late for defensively. But I know he's going to do whatever he can do to get on base. But hit by a pitch, put it in play, and he's going to compete real well. And as you can see, Chad's still out there, and just part of the reason why is because if you had any history what's been going on this season with our bullpen, it's been a little bit more inconsistent. So Chad stayed out there well beyond, and then they were able to get another hit, and then we brought Ben Seabrook in to try to preserve the win. And Ben just hasn't had a ton of opportunity because we haven't been in a lot of games like this. So he finally got his chance, got us out of the game, and and just a really emotional 8-6 win, and really big for us to start the day for the crowd and what was going on.
That was a 28th career win for Chad that puts him in the top 10 in Gulf South Conference history for victories. It was the 13th save for Ben, and it really gave you some momentum. You saw 14 runs there. The second game was totally opposite, but a great pitching performance by Michael Watkins and a 1-0 win.
Right, and if you would have told anybody that we're going to have a 1-0 game against UH, I said you've been crazy. But both pitchers pitched well, very good defense, and obviously we had to make some great plays, not some good plays. We had to make some great plays that game, in which we did, to keep the game at 1-0.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll have more Lion baseball for you after this.
TNT Fireworks is proud to support the University of North Alabama and the Lion baseball team. Like the UNA baseball program, TNT Fireworks is committed to excellence. Our product, service, and teamwork are the reasons we are America's #1 selling fireworks brand. Check us out at TNTfireworks.com. And remember, if it's not TNT, it's not fireworks. TNT Fireworks encourages the entire Shoals area to support head coach Mike Keene and his UNA Lions by attending a game at Mike D. Lane Field. Roar Lions!
He is the most interesting man in the Shoals. He is an artist, a writer, a philosopher, a historian, musician, astronomer, wine connoisseur, environmentalist, Peace Prize recipient. When he speaks, people hang on each and every word, especially the verbs. His personality is so magnetic that he cannot carry credit cards. It is said that once he taught a German shepherd how to bark in Spanish and taught a horse to read his email. Someone recently asked him what he did for fun, and here is what he said.
I don't eat out every day, but when I do, I eat at City Hardware because to me, it's the most interesting restaurant in the Shoals.
Welcome back to the UNA Baseball Review. We're going to take a look at some player profiles now, and Coach Kim, we're going to look at 4 guys from our pitching staff today, and the first one's going to be Cade Medley, a guy that's a transfer this season to UNA, and he's really done an outstanding job. He's taken that role as the #3 starter for you, and 3-1 right now. He's got an earned run average of 369, and he's had a couple of great starts for you in conference play.
Yeah, he's really done been a good role in our #3 game, and obviously that's such an important game because getting in that 3rd game, you got to get a win. A lot of times it's like I said, either to get a series win, get a win, or get a sweep. And I think he's been, and he pitched well against UH. And I think it's one of those situations where, we did go to the bullpen. It isn't anything, but they were coming around a 4th time, and some of the guys were having better swings, and we felt it was going to be make a move, and unfortunately it didn't turn out to be probably the right move that we made at the time based on the situation. But you a lot of times you want to go with that. But I mean he's really been competes real well. He's from a good junior college program, Wall State Hansville, and really has been just a very good 3 starter, and it's just nice to have him out there for Game 3.
And he had a big win for you against Delta State. That was our only win in that series, and he pitched very well on that Sunday.
He really did, and I mean, I think part of that too, he reaped the benefits of an umpire strike zone, which was really low, and he can really paint it on the knees, and with his changeup and his ability to throw 3 pitches per strike was important.
There's another new pitcher to our staff, Damon Erickson from Grand Prairie, Texas, and he's been a starter for you, but you've also used him in relief a few times.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things when you're trying to figure out. We were originally planning him to be the #4 starter, and then we brought him in Florida Southern. He did a pretty good job, and so then we decided to try that role a little bit, and he's been a little bit up and down with that. Obviously has good stuff, and then the other day he came in and threw well again. It's just been one of those things is which way can we use it to try to best get us a chance to win some more games, and so that's. We know he can do either role. We know he's got the stuff to do it. It's just being able to get it every time that he's out.
Now he's been your most used pitcher so far this season. He's had 10 appearances, 3 starts. He's 1-2 with a 7.02 ERA. He's had a lot of strikeouts, not that many walks.
Right, and I think that's when he's on, he's been able to get those strikeouts. It's just when he's off a little bit, he's been getting hit pretty hard. And he's another junior college transfer from Northeast Mississippi, and obviously did a real good job for them.
Brantley Klonchik, a kid that pitched for you more than 30 games last year, had a tremendous season. His comeback hasn't had his pitched as well so far this year. Used him in a new role in the against Montevallo as a starter, and he did well there.
Right, and that's the thing is that last year, we're looking back, Brantley basically covered us through all those middle and just really so important in our success. That's why, you know, he's 7-1, because when he came in, we were behind, and then he didn't give up any more runs and able to get those wins. Well, this year he just hasn't been quite as sharp. We've been giving a little bit longer stretches like that at AUM, and then also the other day we decided to give him his first start, and you know, he probably wasn't as sharp as but he battled real well and kept that. Obviously, gave us every opportunity to win the game, and you know, we went up 1-0, then gave up to one of their better hitters a home run, and left the game at 2-1, which, you know, should have seen at least an opportunity to keep us close to the game, and then obviously it did not go well after he left the game, but yeah, I think Brantley's going to, you know, we're going to continue to probably use him a little bit, maybe more in the starting role at this point.
And Jacob Westerhouse also back. He was one of the 9 pitchers yet back from last season, so you're really counting on a good job from the bullpen. We haven't really had that so far this year, but Jacob 0-0. He's pitched in 9 games, and he's had some really strong outings, but also struggled a couple times.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's the, you know, he was had probably back-to-back, and you felt, okay, this is good. We'll get him in the 8th inning, go through, you know, get us out of that 8th, go to the 9th, and I think that was the other day, and he really hasn't walked any. And then the other day was probably the first time that, you know, again, he looks lights out. He goes and strikes the first guy out, and you know, that's one of those things you got to be able to have that concentration throughout. I mean, his stuff obviously is good enough with his slider and his sinking fastball, and it's one of those abilities just to be able to go out there and get it done. And that's really what we're really pushing for right now is having a guy continue to do it. You know, we can't have one time good, one time not so good, one time, you know, so it's hard as a coach, it's awful hard to predict which guy you're going to go with, because you basically are just saying, I'm hoping this is the day that he's on.
That's what I was going to say. Consistency's been the biggest issue, and you really don't know what you're going to get when you go to the bullpen. Right. But also, you know, it seems a few of the guys may be lacking confidence right now.
Yeah, well, anytime you're struggling, you know, that's what happens. So you probably press a little bit more, and you're kind of worried about making a mistake as opposed to just, you know, cutting it loose and throwing the ball, and what happens happens. But I said, you know, part of that is just you know, ability to just jump in there and do it time and time again.
We'll take another quick break and have more Lion baseball after this.
Morgan Stanley is proud to sponsor the University of North Alabama Lions. Please see one of our financial advisors, Chris Smith, Bill Jeffrey, Joe Curtis, John Jeffrey, or David Jeffrey, to assist you with your financial needs.
Hi, I'm Mike Keene, head baseball coach at the University of North Alabama. Have you ever heard the saying, great baseball players are made in the off-season? As a college baseball coach, I can tell which high school recruits are on a weight program and which ones are not. Help your young athlete reach the top of the sport by training with the personal trainers at the Courthouse Racket Club. Our 5 trainers are ready to work at your athlete's pace and your schedule. Try our 3andMe training program designed for 3 athletes to work with a trainer and lower the cost to fit any budget. Call Ken Irby at 764-0034 to set up a program designed especially for your young athlete. The Courthouse Racket Club, proudly serving the Shoals for 30 years.
Daddy, can I get a puppy, please?
Okay, Sammy. It's bedtime.
Oh, 10 more minutes, please.
10 more.
Yes.
Please? Hey, Daddy. Will you buy some alcohol for my party tonight? We'll be right here at the house. You can even take the keys. Please?
Absolutely not.
Each time I turn around.
Never let me have anything.
Don't be a pushover.
Hate you.
Be a parent. Prevent. Don't provide alcohol to minors.
Morgan Stanley is proud to sponsor the University of North Alabama Lions. Please see one of our financial advisors, Chris Smith, Bill Jeffrey, Joe Curtis, John Jeffrey, or David Jeffrey, to assist you with your financial needs.
And welcome back to the UNA Baseball Review. We've talked a lot, Coach, about Josh Sear and where he stands in a lot of the UNA records, especially offensively. He's in the top 10 of almost every category. He's held the record for quite a while for getting hit by pitch. He's been hit 63 times now, I believe. But he also broke another record recently, and it's one that stood for the last 28 years. He's now recorded more putouts than any player in the history of the Gulf South Conference, which is 40 years of the league. Dave Banks from Troy set the record from 82 to 85. So now with more than 1,200 putouts, I mean, that really says a lot about the hard work and consistency of Josh Sear in our program.
Right, and probably a lot of people don't even know what a putout is, but it's, you know, it's actually whenever he catches the ball at first base and record an out, and that's obviously what it is. An assist is for the person who threw the ball. So there's a lot of them. Those are one of those stats that, you don't hear a lot about, but they're so important because it comes down to consistency and how long and how healthy you've been, and Josh has been able to do that. But even if you saw in that highlight some of the plays that Josh made, we had one against Montevallo that you don't talk about it, but he was actually on the other side of the base as a runner was going in front of him and caught the ball to get the out. And sometimes the putouts aren't as easy as just catching it. There's a lot you got to do with it, and obviously it shows you how hard it is because it's obviously hasn't been in 28 years, so there's not a lot of people doing that.
Well, Josh's development too, and came in as a true freshman, started for you at first base, which is tough to do, especially on our level of college baseball. But a lot of games you would sub him out at the end to put a better defensive player in, and he's really worked hard to improve in that area. And in fact, you've nominated him for a Gold Glove the last 2 years.
Right, he's been, it was remarkable what he did. I think he went out that first summer and knew it was something he needed to work at, and he really did. And he's continued to work at it every day, and he's got so much more confidence in how he does and pick through the ball. And he's always been on the verge because statistically, when I put him in there, when you see a guy every day, he goes for plays, and that's sometimes those guys they feel their high percentage of fielding percentage are real high because they really don't take any chances. Well, he's taking chances, and then I said then he was able to do that up in the Northwoods League, and then had the highest fielding percentage in the Northwoods, which is every from Division I all over the place.
And other records too. He's kind of the Cal Ripken of UNA. He's played in 184 consecutive games now with 156 consecutive starts. And I mean, that's extremely tough to do. I mean, injuries, just all the travel, everything involved in a college baseball season, and he's been able to stay healthy and be there every day.
Coach getting mad, so there's all sorts of good stuff. So he's been able to maintain and stay that and play. But part of that is just what he's been able to do. We've just been talking earlier about consistency defensively. That's what he brings. You know what you're going to get with him when he comes to first base. So and it's like I said, it's an important position for us. So taking him off of first base, it's just hard to do, defensively. And like I said, he's been fortunate to, hopefully we'll continue. He's been fortunate to stay healthy, and then if he does have a little bit, he's been able to work through it.
Switch gears now and talk about the Gulf South Conference standings. You've got 3 GSC series behind you. You won series against Shorter and Alabama Huntsville, lost series 2-1 to Delta State. Delta State currently in first place at 7-2. Alabama Huntsville 6-2. You've got 3 teams 6-3, and then UNA there at 5-4. So definitely still in the middle of the race. What you have ahead of you is 6 series before those on the road, so it's going to be a little tough.
Yeah, and let's face it, we have not been very good on the road. It's one of the areas that if you look at our record, we've really struggled on the road, and you try to figure it out. You don't know why, but obviously we are. So it's something we have to address, and we're going to have to get much better this weekend if we're going to have any chance against West Florida because of their defense and their pitching, which is the tops in the in the GSC, and they just don't make mistakes. So it's a big test. They got a nice ballpark. It plays big. So, but each weekend you just you got to try to do the best you can. Get the game this weekend, then go on to the next one. But like I said, it's going to be tight, and there's a lot of good matchups going on this week that can change things quickly. And
the good news, you've already faced the top 2 teams, Delta State and Alabama Huntsville. A lot of the records, kind of reflect Union at the bottom. Christian Brothers have won like no games, 1 game. So we still have those series to come, and some teams have already racked up some victories on those. But those series are tough anyway because you may be let down a little bit thinking, oh, we got these games won, and those are the ones that can always come back and get you.
And we talked about that in this conference. You got to throw out the records, because they're good. They're a good ball club. I mean, it's just like if you take us, it's not that we don't have some talent. We're just not winning some close games, or some things are not happening. So if you go in there and say, well, whoosh, this is going to be an easy weekend, it's not going to happen. They're going to have good pitching, definitely going to have a good number 1. And it's going to come down. You still got to play well. You got to stay consistent. And the little things you got to do, you got to be able to do every weekend.
When you come back from spring break, no home games, but you're going to play at Trevecca. They're a solid ball club, and then you're going to play at Alabama A&M for the first time in quite a while on Wednesday at 3 o'clock.
And that's that was one of those was real fortunate to get the game. Was calling around former assistant coach Mitch Hill's an assistant coach over there, and called him, and I just talked to his head coach, and we're able to come over. It's been a long time since we played a Division I school, and it's close by. So, we're looking forward to heading over there and playing them.
And then you got Union coming in here on Easter weekend. That one switches to Friday, Saturday as opposed to Saturday, Sunday because of Easter. Doubleheader on Friday at 2 o'clock. That single game on Saturday at 1. That's going to be an important series for you.
It's going to be a really big, important. And the thing too is you're coming off spring break, and sometimes you get a little bit mentally out of it. But it's a game where we know that's going to be extremely important for us down the road.
Thanks for being with us. Hope to see you out at the Mike Lane Field on Friday and Saturday.
Thank you for watching the UNA Baseball Review. Please join us again next Sunday at 11:30.